Hey folks, welcome back to another Palm Masters video, and after like a very long time, because I think it's been out for like more than a year, right? Skill Gears, or at least, you know, around that time. I've finally come around to working on them, because like initially when it first dropped, right, when you open like these Skill Gears, and then you check on like one of these feathers, and then see what it unlocks, and there's like a billion things like straight like in your face. You can't even scroll to the bottom. Like there's like so many different passives, all the different themes, all the base stat variances, and then there's 3 different types of gear, right? There's bracelets, bandanas, and then pins, and then you're thinking, oh my god, as you would if you were me. This is too much of a mess. Is it really even that worth it, right? Like, is it really that big of a deal to get like a good skill gear? And as I did, I just ignored it and just continued on using type gear, which is still fine, right? But after like spending multiple hours last night going through like all the different possibilities and whatnot, and looking into it, doing calculations for the first time in a while, I've come to the conclusion, unfortunately, that skill gears are pretty powerful. They are pretty powerful if you can roll the right ones, if you know what you're rolling for, right? So yeah, and that's what we're going to talk about today. We're not going to go over the basics, just because like there's so much to really talk about, and like, it's tough in a sense, in terms of like getting the like perfect skill gear, but honestly, in my opinion, I feel like getting yourself in the right direction to get something at least better than the type gear isn't that confusing, right? And again, let's talk about it. So again, this is not like, let's not just introduce skill gears from the beginning. I'm pretty sure I have a video on that, like the very basics of skill gear, which we'll not really go into. I guess like one topic I don't think I've covered on this is just like the different colored feathers for those who didn't go ahead and unlock every single one of those additional effects and compare all of them, each 16,000 passives with each other and whatnot. I guess we could talk about this a bit. Alright, so in terms of the different colors, I'm not sure who created this chart, unfortunately. So but thanks to them, they did actually make it a bit easier to sort of visualize, right, which each of these like different feathers go for. Although before we get in, I do want to say, at least in my personal experience, I don't think the different colored feathers matter that much. Like, the main one you're going to be using a lot is still going to be yellow. So like, this is just for those curious, I guess, right? Like, I don't they could make your life a bit easier, especially I think white and purple are pretty cool, right? So yeah, that's that. But in general, you still use yellow probably the most. Not only because, again, it has like everything, which it's not like a great thing, but it's the one you get like the most. Like, it's very easily accessible, right, in comparison to the other ones. So yeah, so the main difference between these is the passives, right? They all still have the same potential stats, same potential theme skills. It's just mainly the passives. And yeah, white is like, gives you mainly the like type sort of passives, right? So like stuff like power up like a specific type of move, right? Or a specific type damage reduction, whatever. So that's like the main thing with it, right? Again, use specific type, that's the one. that it has the most. Obviously, there's, what, 18 types in Pokemon, so there's a lot of that. And then purple does have a lot of, like, the field effect stuff, right? So power-ups and weather, terrain, zone, all that stuff, that's in purple, right? Again, there are some overlaps in between some of these, so yeah. And then green is a lot of powers up your moves when the opponents are, status or flinch, whatever, trap, confused, etc. A lot of that stuff, I guess. And then blue is more like some tank stuff, right? They got a lot of the different damage reductions that you could throw in there with the blue ones. And then pink is a lot of sync damage increases. Do keep in mind, like, most like the damage buffs over here are usually split into regular move damage and sync damage multipliers, right? And then red is just for regular move damage sort of passives. In terms of where you want to throw these on, right? Gear wise, I mean, in general it doesn't matter that much, right? But like, if you want to get into this, like, maybe if you ever need defensive stuff, maybe you could throw blue ones onto pins, right? And then damage ones, just depending on like which type or whatever has more, physical special stuff. You need more damage here, there, whatever, right? So again, in general, I don't think you should spend too much time thinking about the different color ones. I mostly just use yellow. Yellow is fine, right? Again, it's a bit harder in terms of RNG. Again, in my opinion, I feel like the white feathers and purple feathers are generally, I guess pink and red to a certain extent are a bit better, right? I feel like those are the better ones, but again, I do think I prefer purple and white. If I had, 10,000 purple and white feathers, which I don't, but I do have quite a few thousand yellow ones, so yeah, just mainly work with yellow ones. Okay, so now let's talk a bit about the fact that, again, there's a billion different passives, all the different stats and all the different themes. What is probably the best way to do this? A perfect skill gear, very, 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 very hard to come by. I guess I could talk about that a bit later, but I'm just gonna go over like how I sort of approach it, which makes it a lot easier, a lot easier, right? Because the parameters, in my opinion, that are super relevant aren't that many. There really aren't that many to sort of keep an eye on, right? So the main thing, in my opinion, going over these gears is the theme. What theme do you want? And personally, I think you should aim for types in the themes. In themes, aim for types. I think that's the way to go, right? Because most of the time, when you're constructing a team, you're going for same type, sort of, usually one tank, 2 damage dealers. Most of the time, that's generally how you want to go with teams, right? In a lot of scenarios, at least. And that makes it so that it's, again, a lot easier. And especially, again, with some of these like high score events, or for example, master mode, right? Strongly encourages you to go with one type on your team, or at least your damage dealers of the same type. That's most of the content in this game, right? Again, there's 18 Pokemon types in the game as of 2024, at least. And yeah, one of each. Just go for one good gear of each type, right? And that's what I did last night for my bandanas. I haven't done the pins and bracelets yet, but at least for bandanas, personally, I have at least gotten one solid gear for each type. You can map them out, you know, just because there's not like a great way of sorting these, right? Like, you know, you have to like click them every single time, which is slightly annoying. So, all right, now we know like what themes we're trying to go for, right? Which again, in this case, type. So what are we looking for in terms of the stats and passives, right? So if you want to roll for a skill gear, which results in, like, again, the best case scenario, like top stats, top passives, very hard to do. Very, 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 very unlikely to happen. Personally, I did roll one that was pretty good. I mean, well, multiple. This one's pretty decent as well. I did use a pin on this one, right? So I got Psychic, 80 special attack, which is the max amount of special attack that you get. And then I also got Psychic Terrain, Sync Move Up, right? Which is pretty good. And yeah, I think the Fairy one is a bit better, right? Fairy one's a bit better, yeah. Because it got an extra, you know, extra theme, Unova, max special attack here as well. And then Fairy Zone moves up 4%, Status Condition moves up 5%, right? And then also fighting, you know, damage reduction, which Fairy units generally, a lot of fighting types are very weak, right? So that this works out really, really well. This works out really, really well. So, but the chances of getting these are not very high. It's, you know, it's you will be stuck in RNG hell for a very, very, very long time. Costs you a lot of resources, this and that. So between passives and stats, right? Do you want higher stats or better passives? Which one do you want to prioritize? And in my opinion, I mean, it kind of depends, obviously. You know, if you get like just a perfect passive roll, obviously you could go with that. But the easier way, and I think the more efficient way, is to hunt for the higher stats. Hunt for the higher stats. So, here's like one thing I you know, probably compare all your skill gear to, right? You should probably compare how good your skill gear is that you rolled to the same types that also have those the special feathers, right? For example, compare them to you know, compare your for example, I think this one's from Ultra or Alt Selene, I believe, right? So yeah, this one is rock. So I would compare my rock type gear, rock bandana, to like this one. Is the rock one better? That I rolled, or is this one better? And in most case scenarios, the one I rolled is generally, I try to aim for that one to be better. And how can you tell if it's better or not, right? Well, you have to do calculations, but I know no one has time to do all of that, right? So as a general rule, you should check the damage. You should check the damage and then check and then compare it to the percentage boosted that they have over here, and the you know, attack, special attack stat versus the passive. And how do you compare that? Well, if you look at these special ones, every single one of them gives you the exact same stats. All of them give you the exact same stats. Some of them are, you know, have higher percentages than others on these paths, right? For example, this one, you know, 4%, extra 4% on your regular moves, and 3%. Actually, wait, was that the damage reduction? No. 3% on your sync moves, bug zone sync moves, and then 4% on you know, regular moves on paralyzed opponents. This one is lower, right? 2% up for special moves, and then 2% extra on your sync when you crit. But all the stats are the same. All the stats are the exact same. It's going to be, if you use it on a bracelet, 60 attack, 20 defense, If you use on bandana, 60 special attack, 20 special defense. If you use it on a pin, 70 HP and 20 speed. So those are always going to be the same. So the difference between what you get on the stats on these special skill feathers and the highest that you could obtain on, you know, like attack wise on just the regular skill feathers is 20 points, right? Obviously this, we're mainly talking about using skill gear to help your team do more damage, thus clear stages faster. If you want like defense, then obviously check for defense, right? Defense is 10 points higher, the highest you could obtain over there, right? And then yeah, HP as well. Basically, you have to figure out if the gear that you rolled, right, does the extra 20 attack or special attack stat, is that higher than the percentage that you get from like the specialized skill gear passives. Obviously, again, if you get like 80 attack or 80 special attack and then boom, you get on like, for example, like a ice skill gear, and then boom, your passives is also like ice zone attack up, ice type moves up, like obviously that's gonna be better. But this is assuming you only get the 80 stats, right? And then your passives, like none of them match at all, right? None of them match at all. So how do you like cross compare? Okay, so let's look, for example, let's use this Regigigas for an example, just to do some really quick calculations. So let's run 2 damage calcs. Everything is the same. They all have the same multipliers. They have obviously the same level, same whatever, right? Both got normal zone up, etc., and same amount of sync buffs. And just doing a quick calculation of the damage over here of each, except the one difference is this one has 60 attack on the skill gear, and then this one has 80 attack on the skill gear, right? So it's a 20-point difference there. Again, quick calculation. Look at, you take these two numbers. Let's do the sync move first, right? Okay, numbers are pretty messy, but as you can see on the side, the one with the extra the one with the extra 20 attack does about 4.1% more damage, which in this case means that for example, if there was a special feather for Regigigas, is there one? I actually don't remember. That has his normal type, has all his other stuff, and then the extra passives don't give more than like 4% extra damage bonus, which again has to be for both the regular move and the sync move, right? Because those are 2 separate passives, and obviously if you give them straight up attack stat, it applies to both regular moves and sync moves. Then you should just use the normal skill gear that has, like, again, assuming the worst, like let's just assume no passives. No passives, normal skill gear, 80 physical attack is better than a, specialized skill gear that has, again, his themes, like normal, and then 60 physical attack, and assuming under 4% regular move and sync move multipliers. Obviously, like, you have to go, like, Pokemon by Pokemon, right? Sync pair by sync pair, and the higher, like, the base, right, is for these units, or the base stats, the higher the base stats for these units are, the less impactful, generally, right? Not a hard rule. Extra just straight stat buffs are, but Regigigas, I did try to pick something like more like middle of the road, but Regigigas is one of the more powerful damage healers in the game, right? So like even Regigigas, like you need over 4% passive buff to make it like worth more than just straight up that extra 20 stat point difference. I'd say it's pretty safe to say that like a decent amount, like most units in this game, right, you'd rather have that extra 20 points, again, in term if we're talking about damage, right? So like most units, the difference would be, again, the 20 points would probably be more than under 4% buff in the passives, right? And obviously, if you do get an extra percentage, even if it's 1 or 2% extra buffs in the passives on top of the 80 attack stat, that's obviously going to be a lot better, right? So, again, when we're just talking about damage-wise, right, with these skill gears, that extra 20 flat buff is pretty good. It's pretty good, right? Like, again, like most cases, it'll get you like a 4 or 5% damage boost, right? Which is like, that's like what, one level of like overpower, whatever, one of those sort of multipliers. And if you personally care for ranking high in the leaderboards or whatever in those events, if you check, they probably all have very, very, very good skill gear, right? So, and in terms of like making those like top tier, near perfect skill gears, again, it's not going to be easy. Going to be a lot of RNG. If you do want to cut down on some of the RNG, right? If you do have the resources, this is one of the ways you could do it, right? Which is you roll one of these skill feathers. Probably, in my opinion, if you do want to save a bit on resources, just roll a yellow skill feather, right? Until you get one of either a type theme skill that you need, right? Or a like maxed out passive for a certain type, right? Like either or, you get one of those, and then you go ahead and you pin it. You go ahead and pin it, whichever one comes first, right? For example, for me, this one, Psychic came first, so I pinned Psychic, right? And then after you pin either or, right? You keep rolling. You could probably switch to either white or purple feather if you have an abundance of those, just so it could, a bit easier, a bit faster, right? And go for, keep rolling until you get the other one. Like, if I wanted, like, to perfect this, or as well as I could, I guess, you use one on, for example, just using Psychic example, you use a pin on Psychic, and then you use a pin on this Psychic Terrain Sync Move Up 4%, right? Which is very, very, very high. You pin both of those, and then you keep rolling until you get a satisfactory, like, attack or stat over here, which is 80, right? Would be nice if you get some extra, special defense or HP or whatever, right? But just mainly aim for the special attack stat, and then see if you could get like a second Psychic passive, or it doesn't have to be Psychic passive, just damage boosting passive over there, because again, if you pin 2, right, these 2 won't be moving. Again, you can only pin up to 2. You can't pin more than 2. So you could do something like that, and then try to go for, it just cuts down your variables from, let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4, up to 5, 6, 7, like up to 9 variables. You cut that down to what, at most 7, but again, you don't really care about the theme skills that much, so like at most 5 if you also want the defenses and HP. But if you don't care for the defenses and HP, then you cut down the variables to just 3, right? Which is the special attack stat, and then 2 extra slots for either, damage boost, or if you want specific damage reduction, that as well. So yeah, that's, I guess, how you go about if you want to, if you have the resources and you really, really, really want a strong gear of a certain type or whatever. But in conclusion, if if you didn't care for looking through all the you know, the calculations, the explanations, whatnot, just to, I guess TLDR would be, skill gears are good. They're very, very good. They are a decently large deal. Again, it's not like it's not going to turn your Flint and Infernape into NC Leaf or whatever, right? But it could give you a pretty solid boost, and you should probably try to invest into them if you have the time or energy. Again, not everyone has to, but if you do, my suggestion is make sure you roll for the themes. You roll for types, one of each type, 18 types, right? Unless there's a type you don't care for, like normal, normal. But yeah, one for each type on the themes. Base stats, go for the highest you can. Go for the highest you can on the base stat, and everything else is kind of extra gravy, right? And the main way to compare it to the, you know, if this is a solid one or not, is check that versus the same type that you have on the special feathers. If your AD attack, special attack gear versus again versus that same type one, does that type's passive boosts, is it more than damage boost? Is it more than like 4 or 5%? If it's less than 4 or 5%, congratulations, the skill gear you just rolled with the AD stats is generally offensively better, right? So that's just a really simplified, you know, way of looking at this. Again, anything you get from the passive is extra. The passive is not like a make or break sort of deal. Generally the highest in most case scenarios, unless your Pokemon's like base attack, special attack stat is like insanely high, like 700 or something. I don't know. Does anyone even go up that high? But yeah, generally, just getting your theme set on your skill, which is a certain type, and then 80 stats on the offensive stat. Generally, those two are good enough, right, to use them over the, again, mostly mediocre special skill feathers that they give you. Yeah, like before this, I was either using like type gear, or I was using the special skill feathers that they give us, and after doing the calculations, I finally realized these kind of suck. These are not that, like, offensively, right? I mean, the damage reduction, you know, defensively, they're not like that bad. You could definitely get better than what they give you, but again, we're mainly focused on offense, right, at the moment. So yeah, again, if you look at this, max you get is 60 attack, special attack, and then this is only 2% up on your grass move and sync moves, which is, again, just not that good. It's just not that good in comparison to a straight nothing else 80 attack, special attack grass gear. That just does more damage. The raw stat just does more. So yeah, again, in like 90% scenarios in terms of damage dealers. So yeah, nothing much else these special skill feathers are really doing other than taking up space in my box, I guess. I think there was like one or two that were pretty nice, I believe. Again, like, if you look at this, it's like, oh, 4% isn't that bad, right? Oh, that's definitely not good at all. That's 2%. Like 4%. Yeah, but that's A, it's only for your regular moves. B, well, they have to be confused. And then C, your sync is only 2%, right? And again, like, stat sticks just give you on both your sync and regular moves. Like, for example, like, I guess this one isn't that bad. Like, 4% extra, opponent poisoned, and then on your, you know, and then you have 3% on poison zone, just because this one just doesn't give you any crit damage. So if you're just looking for, like, specifically, I just want, like, regular move damage, and this one's not bad as, like, a special skill feather. But again, most of them are just not as good as you rolling yourself a 80 stat stick, basically. And yeah, especially, like, the pin ones. The pin ones straight up don't even have like attack or special attack. The pin ones just give 70 HP and 20 speed, which even if you want speed, like, you could get better. You could get better with rolling your own. So yeah, and yeah, like especially pins, because like pins, it's, you know, it's the same, like 0 to up to 20, right, with the regular yellow feathers. So yeah, or is it 20 or 30? Oh no, speed is 30. Yeah. You either get 0 from the special ones, or you get 20 from the regular, just even yellow ones. Don't even have to use any of the other colors. So yeah, if you have the time, again, it takes a while to re-roll. You know, try out some skill feathers, right? Try out some skill feathers. It does give you a solid amount of boost, right, for your damage. So anyways, that's been this one, I guess. Hope you all enjoy. Let me know what you guys think in the comments down below. Like, enjoy the videos for the channel, some more Poem Messages content. Oh, battery's dying. Cool. And yeah, it's again, there's no like correct way to do this. This is just my personal suggestion, just to make things not like, you know, because just always hunting for like the perfect one is kind of near impossible, right? This just is like an easy way to get a substantial, maybe substantial might be a bit too strong word, but like a decent improvement for your unit's damage, right? At least offensively, right? Defensively, there's, you know, different things, but I feel like personally, offensively it's a bit more fun and probably important. So all right, see you guys.